Believe it or not, you've just driven down through the heart of the saltwater fish and coral importing and distributor business in the country, if not the world.
So we've come down to our fish wholesalers today, down here near LAX. You can probably hear all those big planes taking off. Our wholesalers provided us with formalin. Now this is a 30% diluted version of formaldehyde. This is really carcinogenic stuff and you have to be extremely careful. You don't want to be breathing it and you don't want to get it on your hands, so you got to be real careful. What I learned today is that this red sore disease is not a bacterial issue. In fact, it's a protozoan, what's referred to as a ciliated protozoan, and it seeks out fish or open wounds and attacks those wounds and then begins to spread inside there. We're going to use this formalin. We're going to dose it 1 milliliter per 10 gallons, and we're going to dose it not just 3 days, but 4, 5, 6 days, however many days, until we see an improvement in the fish. So we bought fish today at the wholesalers. We're on our way back home. We're going to stop at the fancy cylinder tank and administer that first dosage of the formalin. So come on, tag along with us.
We arrived at the customer's location and were prepared to introduce the medication into the aquarium. We've been forewarned that it's potentially carcinogenic and to handle it very carefully, so we've attempted to do so, and we remind you, if you're going to use it, to use extreme care as well. We've been instructed to introduce this formalin 1 milliliter per 10 gallons. This being a 460, let's round it off to 450 gallons, works out to 45 milliliters of formalin into the aquarium. We'll measure this out in a small measuring cup that we placed upon the wet-dry filter inside the cabinet. Having dispensed the medication into the aquarium, I gaze into the tank itself, and almost on one hand expect fish to immediately begin to do corkscrews and swim to the bottom of the aquarium. But everything turns out to be fine. No immediate results or reactions in the aquarium, which is fine as well, because nothing good ever happens fast in an aquarium. By the way, I'd like to point out, look how crystal clear the water is now that we've added the activated carbon back to the system with that new pleated cartridge. So I came home tonight and I made it a point to go through the library and look for the books I referred to the other day. I mentioned there were 3 of them. One of them was a rather thin book, and that's this particular book, which is called Disease in Marine Aquarium Fish. The other one I mentioned was a really thick, rather expensive book. Sorry, I don't have that one. And the third one, which is relatively new, is this book here. It's called the Marine Fish Health and Feeding Handbook. It happens to be authored by Bob Gomans and Lance, don't ever try to get me to say your last name. I'm joking about the last name, but Bob and Lance, I know both of them. As a matter of fact, I would attribute a lot of what I know as far as basic aquarium filtration, biologically speaking, to Bob, because I remember reading his articles back in Marine Fish Monthly when I started at Marineland Aquarium Products back in 1987. Anyhow, you heard me say earlier this afternoon that the problem was not a bacteria, that in fact it was what's called a ciliated protozoan. which basically means it's a parasite that has a bunch of hairs that make it mobile. So it's a parasite that's causing the problem, not a bacterial issue. Having said that, he gave me a name, Euronemia, and I came home tonight and I looked through both of these books. Neither one of them visually presents what I would see on the side of a Chromis or what I see on the side of those butterflies or angels in the fancy cylinder tank. But if you have any inkling as to what it might be, because even reading through the description, it's so... the issues are so varied, and most of them even I wouldn't notice until it became a problem. My point is that if there was a picture of a Chromis in there with the red sore on the side, bingo, you would know that that was the source of the problem. You would look up and see, oh, it's Euronemia, and you would read how to treat Euronemia. But my point is that if you sat down and tried to read them front to back without visually seeing what it's describing, I don't think you would ever catch on. Having said that, once I understood what I was looking for, both books do have a section on that. They both describe what the parasite is, and they both have the same suggestion. Both have the same suggestion for how to resolve it. That's commotion. Her sister Havoc is around here somewhere. Both books have the same suggestion. Baby, you'll have to... No. Come on. Go. Both... Both books have the same suggestion, which is the use of formalin, which, as I said earlier today, is a diluted version of the stuff they use to embalm people, formaldehyde. So, you've seen us do our first dosage. I need to do that on a daily basis for the next 3, 4, 5 days as it was suggested. So I'll keep you posted as to how the situation moves along. So we did a little research last night online. We found a couple of aquarium product companies who are currently offering formalin or formaldehyde. We read through their instructions, found out we're supposed to be removing the activated carbon. So that's what we're going to do today, is pull that carbon out of the canister filter and then do the next dosage.
So you've heard me refer previously to how careful one needs to be when dealing with the canister filter for fear that it could leak, or worse yet, because it's plumbed through the bottom of the aquarium, drain the entire aquarium. So you have to make sure that everything's seated properly, all that the surfaces are clean, and that it doesn't have any air leaks or water leaks in it. And with the carbon removed and the canister filter safely reseated, we can now begin to add the medication. Day 2. Day 3. Day 4.
So we've added the formalin now for the last 5 days. You can see the water is cleared up, but when I was here on Saturday and Sunday, it was all hazy. On its own, it's cleared up. We did lose that Potter's Angel, though, this morning, which is really too bad. But I think we're on the right track. So make sure to come on back for the new season of LA Fishguys, Phase 4, as we begin to do some traveling and see some unique things. Happy holidays and best wishes for a 2010, a prosperous 2010.